Okay, so we'll start with the Italian game or Guico Piano. Okay, so let's go to the. Sorry. Okay, so the Guico Piano is a opening for both sides. Okay, an Italian game. Uh, so it starts like this. Okay, e4, e5. Okay, so knight of three is obviously this is common, just to control the center, attack the pawn, and control the center, attack the pawn. Bishop outside to control the center and develop your pieces, and same thing. Okay, so that's the basic structure. So now you can do two things. For white, you can either go like this, you can play d3, okay, and or you can play like this, okay. So why do you think you play so what do you think is the main differences between these two moves? So what's the difference between d3 and what's the difference between playing c3? Again, once you played uh, d3, you can still play c3. You can still play these, but still, usually
I
you
think the difference between that is then you can't get out the knight on to c. Then you can't get out the knight to c3.
Yeah, that's one of the differences. Yeah, okay, sure, we can say that. Do you know like
And
what's the
then
difference? What's the difference between like the plans for each, like the goals of the future? Yes.
and and then when you move the pawn up, then you can move the bishop on d2.
Sure, okay. I see more like here you're trying to get your pieces out, you're trying to control the center and squeeze black, and black's trying to do the same to you. But here versus here, you're trying to, if you move up to c3, you're trying to like storm the center and just take it by force. Okay, this is different. So you choose which you want to play. Okay, so next we'll go over another opening. Okay, so this is a little bit different. Okay, so instead you go here. So why do you think you go here? Like, why do you think, what's besides like the positions of the bishop, what's the main difference between bishop here and bishop here? Like, what does moving the bishop to b5 do to black?
If you move to b5, it's attacking the knight. Well, not really attacking. It's doing a trade. And then if you move to b4, and then if you move it to c4, then you might be able to do the queen and bishop checkmate.
Sure, yeah. So if you take here, then there may be a position where you can take that for free. Okay, so it's kind of pressuring black into doing so. Okay. So now there's a lot of things that black can do in response to this. Black can go here, black can go here, black can go here, like lots of things. Okay, so that this all depends on like what your opponent plays. But if you're white, your goals are to move your bishop, move your knight out, move your pawn here, castle early, and just develop all your pieces. Okay. Or you can try playing something like this, but I don't think that's a good idea. Usually it's okay. Do you like either of these openings or no? Do you think they fit your like game style?
I usually always play like this in games.
Like if you're white, you don't like to play this first move. You like to play e4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Okay. So now if you're black, there's another thing you can do. If your opponent plays e4, you can play e6. Okay. So this is called a French defense. Okay. So usually white does something like this and you go like this. So now there's a lot of variations. So these are the main three. Okay. So do you like this? It's called the French defense. And basically instead of it's for if you're black, it's like it's an alternative to playing e5 instead in response to e4. Okay. So this is one way to counter e4 if you're black. Okay. So let's say if your opponent goes here, which is what they'll normally do, you play something like this, Okay, you're just trying to take more control of the center and gain more space, which remember we went over space last time, right? Okay, so then your opponent will try to
Well, sometimes
protect.
no. Do you know the C3 pawn? The opponent moves. My opponent sometimes move it 2 times. Like
C4.
yeah, there. So then he.
So in the French
sometimes-
defense.
So then he sometimes tricks me, and when my queen's at D8, he tricks me in capturing and then capturing, and then he can get my queen on trade.
Yeah, that's like a trap. You have to be careful for that. But yes, this is like the basic structure of the French defense. Where white has like the more space right now, right? Obviously, right? We can see if you like this like draw like a line here, kind of. You can see that white has more space, right? More control here, everywhere, right? And black is trying to break that control and take control of the center. Okay, so that's basically the idea of the French defense. Obviously, there's other variations where um, like instead of moving the pawn up, uh, so instead of move up, white goes like this. Okay, there's lots of variation. Okay, lastly, there's c5 against e4. Okay, so usually there's a lot of ways you can play this. You can play like this. Okay. Okay. You can play like this, or you can play this. Okay. So this is a little bit more aggressive way of playing as black. Okay. You have lots of options. You can play this. You can play. You can play this. You can play this. You can play this. You can play this or not. You can play this. This. You have lots of options as black. Instead of like e5, you kind of choose what white's going to play. Okay, you have to kind of go along with it. Here, black mostly chooses what they play. Okay, and then second of all, what else? Yeah, so that's basically one of the other ways. So there's one other way, I guess. It's not as common, but it's like you can use it as like a opening against your opponents when they play e4. It's not like as commonly known as uh, e5, c4, and e6, but you can still play. Okay, so it's e4, right, and it's actually c6. Okay, so this is called a Caro-Kann defense. Okay, and usually when white tries to take the center, like they did in the French defense, that goes like this. Okay, so there's a lot of like things you can do. You can play lots of things. Okay, so which opening do you like the best? Do you like the French defense, which was e6? Do you like e5? Do you like c5? Or do you like c6? Like I know I didn't give you much like much variations, but usually c5 is the most aggressive, and e6 is the most like strategic and defensive. Although again, it depends on what white plays. E6 can be aggressive, but usually it's strategic and more defensive. Okay.
I like the French defense.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Lastly, of course, your opponent might not always play e4. Sometimes they'll play e4. So usually there's not that much to it. White usually plays something like this. Okay, it's called the Queen's Gambit. It's like a show named after it, and you have lots of options. So here there's not that much like creativity and things for like to do. You either have to do. You usually either have to do this or you have to do this. Okay. Yeah, okay. So you could also play this, but I wouldn't recommend. It's kind of unsafe and yeah. Okay. I think that's it. So You said you liked the Italian game the best, and you liked the French defense the best, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, so I'll give you videos.